Peace and blessings, family. Majesty Ocean here, back with another episode of Majesty Speaks. And today I'm going to be sharing more about the topic of cycle syncing and how you are able to really track your menstrual flow so that you are able to tap into your most optimum highest self. So if you don't know what cycle syncing is, it is the process of understanding the 4 phases that a woman's body goes through every single month. And for me, I've been going through this journey of womb wisdom for about 6 years now, but it wasn't until the last 3 years that I was aware of the cycle syncing and really began to take a deeper look into it after finally cutting the ties from birth control and really wanted to understand the cyclical nature of my body a bit better. So as I was going through this journey, I really began to focus on the cycles, understanding the different symptoms when we can be more aware of when it is that we are ovulating. So there are 3 symptoms that you can actually take a look at when it comes to understanding your ovulation. So one is looking at your cervical fluid and really noticing how much fluids are coming out of your beautiful yoni. We often tend to get an increase of sexual energy as well. And then you will also notice an increase in the temperature of your body, and also your cervix will begin to expand. So these are a few symptoms that you can be aware of when understanding that you are going through your ovulation. And it's also very important for us to know that it is only possible to have a child 5 days out of the month. And this is something that I thought was so interesting and amazing the first time that I heard about it, because I wasn't aware that there were only 5 days out of the entire month that you would be able to conceive. So now we began to dive into this information, learn more about my body. It was such an eye-opening experience, and it really disconnected me from feeling the need to take any birth control, and it was the most beautiful decision that I ever made because it allowed me to tap more into my intuitive nature as a woman and also begin to dive into all of these seasons throughout the month. So when it comes to your menstrual cycle, it begins the first day of your bleed, which usually will be between 1 to 5 days. It is very recommended that you really are aware of how long your menstrual cycle is. We really should only be bleeding 3 to 4 days out of the month, and if you are bleeding more, then this is an opportunity for us to take a look at how we're really nurturing our bodies with the foods, with the thoughts that we think, and also exercise. So really having a balance of all of these things and nurturing our bodies, honoring our bodies so that they can be taken care of for all of the days of our lives. And after your menstrual, you go into your follicular phase, which your follicular phase is usually around 7 days or so. And this phase here is when we begin to have an increase of energy. So we're coming out of our menstrual, we're starting to get a little bit of energy. Maybe we have integrated some things during our bleed, and now we're starting to act upon these things. And later is when we have our ovulation. Your ovulation is your 3rd phase in the cycle where we have the most energy. This is also the time when we are able to conceive as well, but it's the perfect time for us to partake in any activities, pouring into offerings, taking more of that time to create as well, using that sexual energy not only to exchange during intercourse, but also during self-pleasure and during moments of creation. And then the last phase of this beautiful cycle is the luteal phase. And this phase is the longest phase in the cycle, which is around 15 days. And I find this phase to be the most important, one of the most important, because it allows for all of the other phases to flow with ease. And in this phase is when we begin to have excess amount of cramps, we begin to get irritated. Irritability is a really big thing during this phase. So this is also an opportunity for us to lean into our self-care practices. And there are so many different practices that I really love to partake in during this phase to really honor myself, honor my body, and assist her in going through the lowest phase that we're in before we enter into our bleed. So some of the practices will be yoni steaming. Yoni steaming is a beautiful way to be able to release any of the toxins within the womb space. I also really love to use my rose quartz yoni egg, which is a beautiful way to also absorb any negative frequencies. Especially me, I had just partaked from cutting the ties from a 5-year relationship, and there were a lot of things that I wanted to release within my yoni space, and using my yoni egg consistently was the best thing that I could have done. It was a beautiful practice that I continue to use consistently that really allows me to feel into that energetic release. And also practicing celibacy has also been such a beautiful journey, really being able to call up that energy back to myself and begin to learn and play in different ways that really allows me to still feel into that self-pleasure and begin to try new things, which is always very exciting. Also during the luteal phase, I love to get a nice massage. I feel like it's very important for us to really lean into that extra support when it is needed. So I'm very big on taking those moments to do some body work, whether that is going to get a massage at my nearby masseuse, or I'll even book an appointment with my sister Andrea, who is a Reiki practitioner, and she also does this beautiful massage as well. But I do find it very powerful when we are able to combine the massage with also the energetic healing. It has really allowed me to feel into such major transitions, especially around the womb space, where I feel like there was a lot of overload of emotions and a lot of trauma, not only from this lifetime, but of other lifetimes, of generations before me, that I feel like I was healing when I was really going through these sessions with Andrea that were so powerful. And I'm actually going to do another YouTube video solely on that experience to dive in a little deeper. It is also very important for us to really use these sacred herbs on our day-to-day to really allow them to assist us with any type of shifts that we are really wanting to feel inside of the body. So some of my favorite herbs that I love to use are chamomile. Chamomile is a great herb that really allows for relaxation. I really call her a girl's best friend because she really assists you when you are going through your luteal phase and you have like a decrease in energy, you have cramps, you're very fatigued. It is the perfect herb that really allows your body to feel into that sense of ease once again. And it's also really beautiful to incorporate practices of movement, of dancing, of stretching, playing on your favorite songs, and just really allowing yourself to feel into your body and let it flow as it flows is what I love to say, because you really allow yourself to express itself in a way that sometimes you can't do with words, but through movement it is so powerful. So I love to incorporate different modalities of stretching and dance and Shakti, a little bit of twerking to allow that divine feminine Shakti energy to be activated within our sacral chakra. And this is a beautiful way as well to alchemize any of those tough emotions that we're feeling. I find myself dancing a lot more during my luteal phase because there is an overwhelming sense of emotions, and it is just such a beautiful way to flow through all of those emotions and really allow you to alchemize it with such beauty and such joy. I can definitely say that my life has completely shifted the moment I began to really align the way that I do everything in life to my cycles, right? Understanding when there are moments for you to be introspective, for you to be in your shell, so that you can allow yourself to be in your own temple to receive the divine information that is meant to come through you. And this is something that I feel is so powerful, right? Understanding that our bodies are truly the temple. There is so much divine information that can be accessed through us, so many beautiful creative aspirations that are meant to be birthed through you, and these are the moments where we can really go within to allow ourselves to receive all of this information. I find myself to be more creative during my luteal phase, and it's also a time where I tend to even dive deeper into different topics that I want to learn more about, reading more books, diving into more information. I also wanted to share a book that has been such a big foundation to really my healing journey and allowing me to tap more into my womb wisdom. So this book here is called Sacred Woman by Queen Afua. And it is such a beautiful book that really dives into the African natural lifestyle, diving into all of the many gateways, and it really aligns to all of the Kemetic practices that really allow us to tap into the ancient wisdom of Kemet. And there are so many beautiful affirmations, prayers that I have spoken over and over again that has allowed such major transformation in my life. And it's actually very interesting to think that when I first went through my spiritual journey, I was about 21 years old and I had read Heal Thyself by Queen Afua, and it was so transformative. And this was the second book that I got from this amazing mentor and author and guide, and she is just so amazing. And this book really allows you to dive into all of the many different gateways, and there are a lot of different deities as well that you may pray to, say offerings. She's really big on altar practices, and it's also a very big part in the Latin American culture as well, specifically the indigenous cultures of Mexico, having the ofrenda practices and really being able to give your offerings is a very big part in really being able to connect to spirit, connect to yourself, even to your inner child. I actually have a picture of my younger self on my altar that I love to give offerings to every week or so. And I always have fresh flowers. So this book was a really big part of my healing journey. I highly recommend that you get a copy and dive into this beautiful magic yourself. The teachings are basically, there's so many aspects to it, but they are rooted in the 42 laws of MAAT, which is so beautiful. MAAT was a beautiful goddess during the Kemetic times who really ruled over this civilization. And when you really think about, a beautiful goddess, a queen being able to rule over a civilization and left behind 42 laws that are so beautiful and righteous to live by. And she really believes in the power of justice, balance, truth, morality. And this is something that I just resonate with so much. And actually the beautiful deity of Sekhmet has been such a beautiful, powerful spiritual guide in my journey. Also being a Leo, I resonate to the lioness, to the felines so much. And this really guided me into such a beautiful journey of healing, going through the destruction, going through all of the fire, but allowing yourself to rise again from the ashes and come out so much stronger. And being able to have a book as powerful as this, where I can continue to read, gain so much wisdom, information, and feel that not only connection to the earth, but that celestial connection that we have to the cosmos to create such beauty and change, and being able to truly create the things that we desire in our lives, especially when it comes to sacred union. This is something that has been such a big part of my journey, especially after cutting the ties from a 5-year relationship and really beginning to think about what it is that I desire, what it is that I truly want in this life. And it definitely is to be a mother one day and to be able to partake into that powerful sacred union that can continue to build and be the light that this world needs. And it's just so exciting to be able to even connect to sisters who are doing the inner work, who are aware of their power, of their multi-dimensional essence, and really being able to connect to the cycles, to the seasons of our lives, really allows us to have more compassion for our journey and allow ourselves to ascend into the greater individuals that we are. So I'm going to go ahead and share a couple prayers from this book that I feel were so transformative for me. So this one here is called the Global Sacred Woman Proclamation. We, the sacred women of the globe, declare and proclaim planetary healing as we sit on our seats of power and purity. swiftly gaining control of our lives and thus directing our destiny. We look over what we have created, and in deep reflection and intense contemplation, we see our challenges as numerous sacred opportunities, predestined and necessary as fuel for our present ascension. Through self-healing and self-knowledge with the tools of divine grace, we gather from the four corners of the globe an illustrious tapestry of sacred woman ways envisioned through our inner gateways. We, the sacred women of the world, do not ask for permission, consent, or approval to be who we are. Our right hands raised in praise to heavenly Nut, our feet firmly planted as roots in Ta Urut, the earth, as we take our sacred seat, as we absorb the earth's power and stability, fortitude and consistency. Whether we face tidal wave or windstorm, hurricane, monsoon, rain, or non-compassionate man-made laws, we shall not be moved from our righteous position, for it is here in consciousness that we sit as sacred women upon the seat where planetary resurrection begins. Ooh, every time I read that, I get so activated. I am just reminded of the beautiful power that we have inside of us as women to create, to continue to be the contrast between the polarities, and really be the light amidst all of the darkness that we experience in our lives. And this is just such a beautiful, sacred reminder to always go back to self, to go back to the medicine, to the practices, to spirit, to God, because that is truly where home is, and we can continue to really give this beautiful light and energy to everyone all over the globe. The book also carries tons of different practices as well as herbs and many other prayers and affirmations, as well as the different gateways. One of the first gateways that definitely stood out to me was the gateway of food. Ta Urut was the guardian of sacred food, and that was a really, really big part in me connecting back to my womb spaces, understanding that the foods that I eat are either going to allow me to ascend or going to drain me of my energy. So I began doing my juicing journey and began to make my drink of Gigi juice that I still drink weekly to allow for the detoxification within the gut, to allow the clarity of the mind. And this was such a beautiful journey, and really allowing how important it is to prepare your meals and to really nourish your body of those life-giving foods and high vibrational thoughts. There is also another beautiful gateway of Heteru, which is the gateway of sacred beauty. And this is something that I really, really connect with deeply, especially being someone who designs my own clothes and loves to partake in buying beautiful pieces of jewelry that have such ancient meaning. I have been blessed with being able to collect so many beautiful pieces and garments and fabrics from all over the world, and they hold such a beautiful, sacred meaning. So when we look at all of these beautiful ways for us to tap into our divine femininity, it is so beautiful to be able to understand that we are a reflection of all of these things that are created in the earth planes and in the cosmos. Thank you so much, sisters, for tuning in. Let me know a little bit more about your cycle syncing journey. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments down below, and I will catch you all next time.